Welcome to the Crafty Mini, and in this one, following on from the Moonstone review, I managed to get hold of a couple of little expansions, purely bought just on the fact that the miniatures were absolutely gorgeous and the artwork was brilliant. Stats wise and things, I'm not even sure if they're any good, but just because I wanted to paint them. So we've got the Fright Brigade and Nanny and her weird little children. So these are expansions, so these are roughly what you get to expand your force in the game. As I said in the review, so you can only go up to sort of 6 to 8 miniatures maximum. There's slight differences, so I think with one of these, because Nanny spawns the little sprogs, as they're called, and the little children, you can effectively go over the limit, but they're not very powerful. They've just got cool little abilities and things. So in an expansion pack, you get your cards that go with each miniature, plus any extra cards that you might need to put into the combat decks. You can see on the bottom of the card here the little blue circle, so that's how many actions that she can do. And then as you take wounds, you'll eventually cut off those blue circles, so you do less and less actions until you've run out and then you're actually dead. It looks like that she's got some interesting stuff, and she basically calls these children, she's got 3 of these little demon, I don't know what they are. I mean, they look brilliant, but they're terrifying. And the sculpt on her is absolutely gorgeous as well. So we're going to quickly go through the boxes, show you what you get in there, and then I'm also going to explain how you actually prep this sort of miniature for painting, and I'll give you an actual example of why you need to do these few extra steps. So this was the main reason I bought this particular expansion. It was the model of Nanny herself. She's got this maniacal face, laugh. I'm not quite, it's a little bit disconcerting, to be honest, but the detail on this thing is absolutely brilliant. It's got a load of expression in the face. The artist who's designed this has absolutely, top drawer, like it is with all the Moonstone miniatures. There's really nice areas that you can do a lot of detailed paintwork as well on there, and it's not too busy, which is one of my complaints with a lot of GW stuff more recently. There's little ropes and things and medallions and just stuff that doesn't need to be there. It makes the miniature look too busy, whereas this has got that detail level, but there's not a lot there that's getting in the way to that shows that off, which I do like, and I'm going to have a lot of fun painting her. She's the artwork, she's absolutely maniacal and a little bit unsettling. And then she's got on the miniature you might be able to see, so a little milk bottle, and she's holding a ladle with it looks like a squid or something, and then in it you get 3 little sprogs, children as well. So on to the Fright Brigade. So again, this one I bought just because I like the look of the artwork and the minis, and there was 2 in particular. So there was Jeremy, Lord of the Deep, who's a little lizard with a monocle and wearing a posh suit and a fancy hat. You've obviously got the Cthulhu links there, which is always a win. And my favourite is the Tea Cake of Terror, which he basically looks like an angry M&M with a bit of his head missing. But he's basically a tea cake, and he's an animated object. Imagine a twisted Beauty and the Beast, I suppose. Is the best way to describe it. But all of the miniatures in these, considering they're so small, have got bags of character and tons of detail. Loads of really, really cool things, and it's just going to be a joy to paint each and every one of them. They're all unique. As I say, in the review, I've fallen in love with this game. It's a good game. I've played a couple of games now. I'm actually enjoying how it plays as well. But for no other reason than the miniatures. They are absolutely stunning, and are going to be a lot of fun to paint them up. Right, so something I mentioned in the review of the game and earlier on in this particular video, with these miniatures, because they're resin and they've been cast in a mould, there's a release agent that can sometimes show up on the miniatures, and paint just won't adhere to it. So I'm just going to actually show you now and go in close and so you can see exactly what I'm on about. Because what you don't want is to build all these minis and then this happens to you. But you can see here, it's like there's no tension on the model. Like the paint is just gliding off the top. There's absolutely no resistance, and it's not sticking, and you just leave these basically like tide marks everywhere, and the paint's just not adhering to it. And then what I'll do now is I'll show you a current miniature. So it's a 3D printed mini that I have washed, and you'll see the difference of the same paint, same brush, everything, and it's going on fine. Absolutely no issue, exactly as it should, and it is just that release agent. So what we'll do now is we'll look at how you actually get rid of that, so your paints, your miniatures are ready to paint. Right, so your miniatures basically need to be washed. What I've got here is a little tub with some warm water and a bit of dish soap. And that's it. You don't need any special chemicals or anything like that. And then I like to use an old toothbrush because it gets into all the little bits of detail and all the little folds and the fabrics and stuff. And then literally just going around and give them a good brush. And then what I'll do, each miniature will get this, I'll leave them to dry, and then I'll do it again just to make sure, because there could be little bits that I've missed. But I'll make sure I go over the whole miniature. Now, in the past I've done this in the sink and things, and sometimes very fine bits of the resin could actually break off. Now, I've never had this issue with any Moonstone miniature, it has to be said, to this point, but it can break off, and then you could lose it down the actual sink. So that's why I do it in a little tub now. So once I've got everything out and they're all dry, I'll quickly search through, make sure there's nothing left in there that I'm going to throw away, and then, as I say, just let them dry completely, and then give them another go after that. Also, if you ever get anything that's bent on a miniature, it's bent out of place like a sword or something like that, or a flagpole, if you use warmer water, you can actually let them soak for a little bit and use the warm water, and then push the piece back into place and then let it cool, and it'll end up being realigned to where it should be. So nice thing with resin is it can be a bit brittle at times. You do have to take a little bit of extra care, but you can always reshape it, and cleaning it is really easy. Some of the finer details, like on this one, you can see I'm actually bracing the miniature on my fingers and then pushing the brush into them so nothing breaks off. I'm being quite vigorous with it, and I'm just making sure all of that release agent's off. This is a really easy step. Yes, it's a bit finicky, but it's something you've got to do when you're painting with resin miniatures, just to make sure that they are ready to accept the paint. And this, we'll look now at the finished miniatures. So this is Nanny and her 3 little children. As I say, bags of character. They're all unique. Everyone's got its own little bit of charm, and are all just going to be an absolute joy to paint. I'm not sure if I'm going to follow the box art for these or do my own sort of spin. Still playing around with ideas. And then we've got the Fright Brigade, who again, all absolutely unique. I love, I think it's called Flay, the one with the book. Because basically on the back of the miniature, you may not be able to see here, but his skin is actually grown into the book, so it's coming out of his chest, which I think is a cool little thing. And some close-ups, and they are stunning sculpts, and I've never had an issue with any Moonstone miniature up to this point. They're all highly detailed and really, really nice. And if you want to just paint something for a bit of fun or get into the game, I do recommend it. A little bit pricey compared to other stuff, but it is a big tick game, and you are getting these as I say, these gorgeous miniatures. But yeah, we'll do some painting videos of some of the Moonstone miniatures coming up. I've got one I want to do, which is the flame miniature I've just mentioned. I want to have some fun with that one. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.